Thank you. Can I ask, does anyone here consider themselves to be cultured? Does anyone consider themselves to be evolved? Also a bit doubtful. It doesn't really matter. That's not part of my set. What I do want to say is that's a lead-in for telling you about cultural evolution. Now don't worry, cultural evolution is not like learning to achieve, some kind of higher plane of existence or learning to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's just levitation. I don't know how to do it. But cultural evolution is just how we learn, basically, from each other. It's how we consume information, internalize it, and reproduce it. Consume, internalize, reproduce. Language, prime example. Babies learn language, they consume it, they internalize it, they reproduce it, and then other people learn from that language, consume, internalize, reproduce. Turns out cultural evolution, basically a human centipede. It's not great. But it's not just things that we learn to do or to use, it's things that we learn to be. And we evolve cultural species. Like, what kind of cultural species were you in high school? Were you the common spotty nerd? Or the puff-chested jock? Or the elaborately crested goth? No? Okay. I'm guessing a lot of nerds, but maybe some geeks. A couple of dweebs. AV club kid. Yeah. But okay, so I was kind of a goth. You might have guessed. I consumed ideas about how to be a kind of a goth from my environment, mostly from my peers, from early internet cesspits like GeoCities. Someone recognizes that. From John Hughes films and from MTV. And back in my day, MTV played music videos. Get off my lawn. I know, it's all right. But I internalized these concepts, and I really wanted to be Molly Ringwald's character in Pretty in Pink, and also Robert Smith from The Cure, like Pretty in Black. And I combined these two, and it ended up being like a licorice all sorts. Still rocking that look. And so I internalized these concepts, and then I reproduced. I'll give you a prime example. I saw all these cool kids that had like fishnet sleeves underneath their ripped band t-shirts, and I thought, I internalized this idea, and I will reproduce it. But I was on a budget. So I bought some really cheap crotchless fishnet tights and just put them on like a jumper. And it was so cool that at least one other kid did the same. So that's my contribution to culture. You're welcome. And so that's how we learn to be. Imagine if it had gone differently. Imagine if, nerds had culturally evolved to wear all black and dance and whereas the goths were really concerned about functional backpacks and collectible card games. It could happen. It might be happening now because cultural evolution keeps happening. Like the youth out there, they're evolving culturally. They're consuming, internalizing, and producing in different ways. So they're probably consuming non-fungible organic TikToks. I don't know. They're internalizing and they're producing sea shanties about Roblox. I don't know. It's not my world. It's theirs. It's theirs. They've evolved it. It's fine. But actually, it's not just the youth that are culturally evolving. Grown-ass adults are culturally evolving as well. And they're doing this to fit into new niche environments, like academic Twitter. Anybody on Twitter? Yeah? Okay, you'll probably recognize some of these academic Twitter species that have culturally evolved. Like the splainer. Most commonly known as the mansplainer. And, they're easily spotted, gathering around their popular watering holes, which are known as, actually. That's right. And, they consume examples of who to interrupt, which, turns out to be anyone who's not an old white dude. And they internalize examples of how to be nasty and demeaning and rude, and they produce examples of how to be nasty, demeaning, and rude, but disguised in the layer of bounce, you know, or like disguised as genuine confusion about why this little lady isn't grateful for my uninvited opinion. What's wrong with her? God. Ugh. So mansplainers, you'll have seen those. Another culturally evolved species on academic Twitter, the consciousness streamer. You'll know this one. They consume every picture of a flat white that's ever been produced in the country. And they internalize the idea that you cannot go to the gym without talking about your workout of the day on Twitter. And they produce 57 successive pictures of their cat. You know, like 9 a.m., the cat is asleep, it's so cute. 9:27 a.m., the cat is still asleep, but I moved around and took a picture from the other side. 10:40 a.m., the cat has moved to another room because it got annoyed with me going like this. That poor cat. I mean, honestly, cats sleep 18 hours a day. There is not enough consciousness to stream. But that will not stop them. It's okay. It's okay. Let them. I mean, I do it too. But it's great when consciousness streamers also are the same people who do not have their finger on the pulse of modern terminology. Case in point, a friend had a wedding on a Saturday night. It sort of went over into Sunday morning. And this wedding included a game where you sort of had to like sneak a clothes peg onto someone else's, the back of their outfit without them noticing. It's good fun, it's all good fun, until the next morning someone shared on social media how, oh my God, all my best friends pegged me this morning, and on the Lord's Day, no less. Okay, I'm good, thanks for that. But I do want to make it clear that I am not just slagging off knobheads on Twitter. I am slagging off knobheads on Twitter in an academic way. That is a key point. And I will leave you with a positive note. So we are somewhat in control of how we culturally evolve. You know, we can control what we consume most often, and we can reflect on what we internalize, and we can change what we produce. So you can choose to be the weirdo wearing crotchless tights as a jumper. Or you can choose to be the dickhead who insists that a dick pic is a compliment. Really, it is, right? I mean, no? You can be the kind of person who plays funny games with clothes pegs at a family gathering and leading to even funnier comments in the morning. Or you can be the kind of person who cannot stop themselves from sharing their hot take on every current event. So you're in control, to some extent, of your cultural evolution. And please consider, if you recognize some of these descriptions of weirdos and dickheads and bellends among your friends, you can influence them. And if you do not recognize these descriptions of weirdos and knobheads among your friends, you might be the weirdo or not. Thank you very much.